Hello and welcome to WDR TV. I am your host, Mike B, and here we are, another thrilling instalment. So this is a Dragonmeet convention special. If you weren't aware, I was at Dragonmeet this past weekend. Still very tired, up early in the morning. Very cold in London that morning. It's freezing bloody cold. My assistant Isaac is not with us today, as he's doing some chores around the house for me. Bless him. So yes, Dragonmeet. So yes, it's been running under, I think, Modiphius. I think it's Modiphius. Took over running of Dragonmeet about 5 years ago. So this is their 5th year, I'm certain. I'm not 100% on, but it's been running for a while. It's a convention that's been running for some time. There we go. Tabletop gaming convention. Always an RPG event. They kind of branched out the last few years more into embracing the tabletop. So I thought, well, I haven't been there for a long, long time. What better opportunity to tear on down there, as it's kind of local, and have a look what was going on. Hello. Hello. Here we are at Dragonmeet. Ooh. And you're undercover. Well, this is Millie. You whinged that I should video stuff for you, so I'm videoing stuff at Dragonmeet. It's very exciting. Millie. We've been in the queue.
I don't know who she is.
She arranges the things at the expo. Mid-headed lass, nice lady.
You're saying that because you're filming.
Yeah. Oh, there's Charlie. I'll go see him in a minute. So yes, we're here at Dragonmeet, and there's a queue. I've been in 3 queues. Couldn't get into the fucking hotel because there was a lift. Are you in a queue now?
Yeah.
What are we queuing for?
Well, I'm keen to put my stuff in the bring and buy.
Oh, fine.
You got roped into it because we were talking shit.
I've gone in a long queue. I'm going to walk around and annoy people with my thing, which is out of control. I think this is possessed. The power of Christ compels you. So we did just that. So let's run through it. Dragonmeet, as we say, it's functioning a little bit like an early sort of UK Games Expo-ish feel. Some of it did feel a little bit like that. It is still predominantly an RPG event. It's in the Hilton West, and it's spread over 3 floors, which didn't make it very easy actually, because some of the signage in the building wasn't the best to work out where you were going to find stuff. However, I persevered, and we had to look round. So there was, in the main floor area there, which I've been running some videos and you can see some stuff, there was a bring and buy, which was much smaller than most other bring and buys. It's a smaller convention thing. Annoyingly, I was there quite early, so as the doors opened, and I didn't really go and have a scoot and look at the bring and buy. Annoyingly, there was a World of Warcraft board game in there that someone I definitely saw grasping to their chest and purchased it. I don't know how much for, but it's very annoying that we missed out on that. Damn it. So yeah, that had happened, but I never really got to the bring and buy because it was just massive bodies at all times. So I couldn't really see. I don't know what the prices were on it. I just kind of craned my neck, and you'll see some footage. But that was there. That was cool. That was also situated in the upstairs, the sort of first floor. I want to say first floor. It wasn't really. It was, I don't know, ground. It wasn't even the ground floor. The first floor. Along with that, there was a demo zone, a playtest zone. So demo zone had some board game publishers, board game designers in there demoing some of their goods. There was Magnet was there, which I didn't actually sadly get to look at. Actually, it's a bunch of artists. There was Jason Froud was there with Lucky Duck Games and Final Frontier Games. So we sat down and had a sit with him and had actually a look at hot from Essen was Fistfull of Dice, which was entertaining actually. Fistful of Dice. We'll have a quick look at it now. Hello, yes, here we are with the lovely Jason. And I was going to say an assistant, but I won't say that. That'd be terribly rude. And what are we doing today? We're having a look at some games from Lucky Duck. Oh, well, this is from Final Frontier. This is Final Frontier. Okay, well, we'll look at that. And this is
Fistful of Meeples.
Fistful of Meeples. Is this his here?
Yes, that's right.
Fistful of Meeples.
This is the little sister game to Coloma.
Oh, Coloma. There we go. There's Coloma. Da 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 da.
You played this, have you?
Have I played that one? No, I've seen it, but I've not played it.
All right.
It's like I'm aware of it.
Do you want me to go for the quick run through of this?
Give us the elevator pitch, buddy.
All right. So what's happening here? We've got a little city street in the Old West.
Ooh.
With gold panning and mining for diamonds and all that sort of stuff. So what we've got here is
Standard Wild West stuff.
we've got some shops areas that we can take control of
Yep.
to send our meeples into, right?
Yep.
So each person will choose one of these colors. You have little marquee storefronts. They will then go onto once you use your builders, they go onto the front of the areas like that, and they allow your miners to gain abilities from them. So this one shows you if you use a yellow miner, you can draw 2
Oh, yep.
cubes from the bag.
Yep.
In this bag we have stone and gold.
Ooh.
Right? So the game ends in 3 ways.
God.
1, if the bank runs out of gold bars.
Yep.
If the graveyard is filled up with too many villages.
Oh dear.
Or if the dynamite is taken to take the outlaws out of jail.
Yep.
And then drawn from the bag. Once the last one's drawn, the game ends and we tally up the points. This one the most is the winner.
Sweet. So yeah, Fistful of Dice was really quite entertaining. Simple little game. Essentially, it had felt a little bit like Bloody in the way it was the 2 runs of stuff. But essentially, you're moving around a board. It's like an old town western feel to it, and you're picking up a bunch of meeples. The basic idea is you'll pick up a handful of meeples from one of these locations, and you pot them down as you move around, either left or right around the thing. Putting down worker brown meeples will allow you to do very little else other than build buildings if you have the resources to do that. Yellow ones down at a property you own would allow you to pick up more resources out of the bag, which are going to be stuff like gold, building materials, and potentially dynamite ends up in there. So there's that. And then you also add outlaw meeples, which will rob the yellow meeples if you put them in a location there, which again allows you to pull more stuff out of the bag. Marshals or lawmen, which are blue meeples, which you put down if there's outlaws on the location, and that will allow you to pull more stuff out of the bag. It's also a kind of cool thing if at either end of the town, if you pass via either those 2 points, you have to put your meeple down, and then if someone does the opposite the other way around, there's a shootout, which is kind of cool. Roll a dice and see who wins that. And that's pretty much it. You can build properties on there to give you more perks for when you're putting down the yellow meeples. There's a madam comes out of the local hostelry, and she will entice workers into there for an evening of enticement. Generally not bad, fun little thing. Final Frontier Games, as I say, they did Robin Hood Merriment, which is actually around here somewhere. I need to review it. I've been sat on that for a while. I just haven't got around to doing it. But they also did Coloma, I think was the last one. So what they essentially do is this is a companion piece to Coloma, which was a Wild West set, sort of heavier, meatier game. So this is kind of a companion piece, a smaller, easier to play version game of that. But I mean, we've shown the videos and stuff, and you'll see. Generally quite entertaining. I would imagine that's now available. I don't know what the RRP on it is. We'll flash it up here, maybe we can. But fun, yes, delightfully fun. Simple little game. So we looked at some Lucky Duck stuff there. There was other stuff in the hall we had to look for. There we go. Play for Keeps. It was this. It was Overstocked was their game. Can't remember the name of the 2 gentlemen I met there did it. I'll run the video of it anyway. Real simple little tile laying game.
So this is Overstocked. It's a game about stocking your warehouse with the latest crazes from the 90s. So you'll have 2 areas. You've got a central area where you're building large areas of contiguous things, and then your own personalised area where you're trying to stock those as well. And it's all about the scoring really. So the largest area in the centre, contiguous area, will be the multiplier for your own individual area. The twist is that the actual largest area in the centre won't score at all.
So the centre sort of represents the demand for each of these toys: Beanie Babies, Tamagotchis, Furbies, yo-yos, and then this area in front of you is your warehouse.
Right.
So you're trying to influence the demand for the toys, fill your warehouse with the ones, but the one that's the most popular is not cool anymore. Too many people have got it.
We don't want that anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It's rubbish.
So you're overstocked if you've got that in your warehouse.
Exactly, yeah. And the way the game works is you'll have a hand of 6 cards.
Yeah.
Each of the cards is individually numbered.
Cool.
So you'll simultaneously reveal cards, and then we'll go in number order, lowest to highest, placing those down. The rules are when you're placing stuff, you either choose to place it in the centre or in your own area. You have to cover at least 1 thing,
right.
Maximum of 2. But there are blank spaces. Blanks don't count, so you could cover a large area there.
Okay.
And the only other rules are around the workers, which are the little yellow guys.
Yeah.
So you can't cover workers because that would be a violation.
Is that working?
Yeah. HR violation, definitely there.
Definitely, yes. Crushing workers.
This is all prototype artwork and kind of stock images for the moment.
Cool.
The workers don't look much like workers right now.
It's a work in progress.
Workers in progress.
Pretty straightforward, very simple actually. But you know what? It's a light, simple little game, and I could see it would be quite tactical, kind of a vicious little game eventually, because as the turn order changes throughout the game, you've got the opportunity, obviously, to blank off areas of the board where if you look at one of your competitors, what someone else is playing who's obviously doubling down big on Ninja Turtles, then you take them out of the picture. Very early stages of this prototype. I think they come into Kickstarter next year. I would imagine it'd be a fairly inexpensive sort of thing. Essentially, it's just a deck of cards. But as a graphic designer, I'm sure all of that is open to interpretation, change, and all that. But yes, generally, as the game played, and I quite like the idea of the theme, I spent that period of time actually working for Bandai, so I was fully aware of everyone's urge to get a Tamagotchi. So yeah, it kind of, some nostalgic vibes were awakened in me. So that was kind of cool. Then we went down to, and then that was it. There was a playtest zone upstairs. There was a Hot from Essen area, which I don't even remember seeing. It was so minute. There was a bunch of other game designers and some publishers upstairs and variously scattered around in that sort of first sort of trade hall area, where we actually bumped into these gentlemen here, or this gentleman here. So this is Possession, a demonic card game. There's Alberto Fedora Lucifer. I'm so sorry, Alberto. He was a very nice game designer. We had to chat with him. He showed me this. The art and design looks really kind of cool. I can't miss this on Kickstarter. 1 to 4 players, a card-based sort of dungeony, crawly sort of do horrible things to each other. He demoed it. It looked very cool. And there's an expansion coming to Kickstarter next year for this, with one of the expansions available he gave me, which is Corners and Screams. It looks very nice. It's kind of evoking some of the old woodcut style of that 18th century art, as well as definitely some fine fighting fantasy vibes I was getting from that. So that's one I'd be interested in looking at and giving that a go. That's Position, and that is available from their website, which I'll find a link and I'll stick it up on the site at some point for you. So there was that. And then really, that was kind of upstairs. There was a couple of seminar rooms. There was definitely RPGs running, which I did bump into Charlie from the podcast. He was there.
Hello!
Charlie from the Who Dis World's podcast here with me.
Welcome to Q Eternal.
In a queue.
Yes.
This seems to be the pattern of Dragonmeet.
Yeah.
It's fucking
I love
queues.
for bring and buy. It takes a while.
What are you bringing and buying, Charlie?
I am bringing and selling
abundance
Thunderstone.
of stuff.
Come buy my wares. This will be way too late to buy said wares.
Oh look,
but-
I'm using this. And it's whoa. Ooh.
Oh dear.
We also bumped into Kat from I Play Red. We bumped into her, had a chat with her. In fact, we continually bumped into her for the entirety of the show, until she had an incident with a man with a cockatiel, which we won't go into here, as there may be children listening, showing. Oh, actually, maybe there shouldn't be children. Due to YouTube's rights, actually, no children should be watching this. I don't want to be fined. Fuck off, children. And that was kind of the top floor. There was some other Leisure Games were up there, or Games Quest was selling some overpriced games. And that was pretty much what was it. Downstairs, then you went down a level. There was more RPG stuff, I think, off the offshoots. But the main area down there was the trade hall, which I walked the trade hall. So that was the trade hall. Very exciting, lots of stuff happening there. Predominantly, as you will have seen, it was really very few board game retailers. I mean, Leisure Games I saw there. There was another small stand. I can't remember the name of the stand. It was on the video. But most of it was RPG related. Either accessories for RPG, dice, stuff of that ilk. Not very many independent game publishers or even publishers. I think the only big name that was down there was Osprey, were there, which they had a few scattering of their board game stuff. Things like Helter Skelter, which I still desperately need to look at, actually. It's the Judge Dredd re-theme of Wildlands. So they were there. One thing did pop out to me was a Theology. I don't see, this is bad, giving me stuff with slightly weird names to pronounce. There was a couple of young lads there. They were demoing this. It's in the video. You'll see it in a minute. It was a quite interesting little game of an area-ish control, sort of, worker placement-ish, sort of. What you were essentially doing, you were playing gods. And I was getting Populous vibes, if you remember that 8-bit classic. And what you're doing essentially is wandering the countryside, where there's a bunch of grey cubes to start with. These are all sort of peasants roaming the area with no real sort of godlike balance in their lives. They're not really found their calling. And as a god, you're probably down to earth. And what you're doing is you're going around and you're essentially converting these poor, mindless individuals to your godlike way of being, using some godlike smiting and powers, and converting them over to the godlikeness. Lots of God in there. So you're converting them over. So it was a really interesting idea. You got these gods fighting over these vessels, basically trying to convert them to their own cause and doing unpleasant things. And I'm sure the poor little people are the ones at the bottom suffering throughout the total duration of it. So this isn't out yet. It's coming to Kickstarter in March. It was interesting. I'm going to be in touch with them because it was a theme was something not really encountered before very much. It was an interesting theme and some interesting mechanisms were kind of working alongside that. So that's one I'm going to keep an eye out for. There's a tip to have a look out for, and hopefully we can get our hands maybe on a demo copy or meet up with them, play it and actually have a play of it, because I never really got a chance to do that. But that was kind of cool. Other than that, we bumped into Janice Turner, basically, not Stu, because he was off with kids. But they were local game designers. They recently kickstarted Sensor Ghost, which is 1 or 2 player game, which is kind of cool. Before that, they also had Assembly. They've kind of had this sort of done quite well themselves. This is my first encounter with one of their games, so I look forward to giving that a play. It's kind of criminal, really, that they are pretty much local to me, and this is my first interaction or even attempt to see their stuff. Other than that, nothing really kind of blew me away, if I'm absolutely honest with you. It was okay, but yeah, nothing really kind of thrilled me. There was a lot of stuff there. There was pretty much the rest of it was given over to RPG stuff, shenanigans, which I'm sure at some point I'll speak to Charlie and we'll probably do a podcast or something some point to catch up on what he saw, sights and scenes and smells he saw. I did get to see the guys from Free League, I think it is, the Alien RPG. They didn't have it for sale there, which is really annoying. There's apparently a very limited pre-order copies of it, which I didn't know about. I was able to glance at the book because they had one nestled behind the table that they had from these pre-orders, and it does look gorgeous. And I am very tempted, actually, to dip my toes back into the RPG world with the Alien RPG, because the book itself is just a work of art. So it's definitely on my Christmas list at the moment to grab a copy of that and give that a go, because that looked really cool. And I like Aliens, the whole universe. And I had the old leading edge RPG of it, so dipping that was very clunky, sort of mechanically minded. So this looks smoother, nicer, and so we'll give it a shot. Why not? Let's live life dangerously. So yeah, there we go. So Dragonmeet, what do we say? Final sum ups on Dragonmeet. It was fun to a point. It was nice to catch up with some people I haven't seen recently, catch up with some peeps, as I say. Jason and some of the other friends I've not seen very often. See Charlie very briefly before we disappeared into the haze of RPG. That was kind of cool. There wasn't really a lot, I don't think, if you're a tabletop gamer, especially a board gamer, if you're going expecting a board game convention, it was very lackluster. There was very little in the way of board game really there. There was, as I say, upstairs there was the demo area, there was playtest area, which I did scoot through, but I didn't really look at, and a few scatterings of publishers, but no big names really there other than Osprey, and they were just really selling. So yeah, it was. If that's what you're going there for, then it was sadly a bit lacking in comparison to some of the bigger shows, things like Expo, even Tabletop Live actually had a bit more going on. Busy, definitely. Easy to get to. I went up on the train. Easy to find, pretty much off the tube. So getting to it for me personally wasn't too much of an issue. The location, as I say, was okay. Bit disjointed over the 3 floors, and the signage wasn't the easiest to sort out, but generally well laid out. Busy, definitely bustly, but didn't feel I couldn't ever get to anything other than bring and buy. I had a chance to stop and have a look at a few stands. Oh yeah, I saw Bez as well. The lovely Bez was there. I haven't mentioned Bez. Lovely Bez. Hello, Bez. And other people. There was lots of people there. So yes, there we go. So where will I go again? I don't know. Dragonmeet, I'm probably not for the expense of running around and going down there. But I personally, the joy I got out of it, or the hobby joy, it wasn't a lot really to big up for it. It was nice to catch up with people, nice to see some designers I've not seen before, nice to pick up on things like this, which I would have not been able to see. But it's quite an expense really to go down there for me for that one day, and I can imagine that's why we're not seeing more big names there. Really, it's a one-day event, so it's a lot of effort to move your stock down there, set up a stall, and then go again. I don't know where it's going. There's lots of switcheroos with it. I think for the RPG fans and RPG players, there's certainly a lot there to be got. I think for the tabletop side at the moment, it seems a bit lacking. And I didn't, as I say, I think I was the only real tabletop media type there. So I've got it all to myself. So there you go. Dragonmeet 2019. An interesting day out. It was fun. I mean, it's always nice to go to a convention anyway, a board game convention or any convention, to see the sights and sounds. And for that, it was joyful. But yes, whether I'd go again, it's doubtful, unless maybe it changes location. They get more board games in there and stuff. There's whispers of potentially Olympia and stuff on the cards. But there we go. If you're on the fence on it, hopefully that's pushed you one side of the fence or other. Obviously, say there's the videos and all that you would have seen and be seeing that you can have a look at and see what went on down there. And until next time, which will be next time. Hopefully I've got coming out this week, there will be my comparison piece between Lifeform and Nemesis. I did film some of it the other day. I just need to edit it, and some reviews I'm hoping to wrap up. And there's a bunch of stuff I'm meaning to do. We'll see how it pans out. Okay, but for the time being, that I think wraps us up for the time being. Until later on, we will see again sometime. This is wrapping up stuff as shit, isn't it? Okay, well, we're done.